Hello, welcome to the program Political Viewpoint on Aso Television. My name is Topsy Gimba, your host. Indeed, I want to be with you this evening to ensure that indeed we do the right thing we often do on this program. You know, Political Viewpoint comes to you 3 times in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them holistically for those who are watching us to become conscious of those issues. The program gives you the opportunity as well to invite personalities on such of these topics that will be discussed. Today, indeed, I have with me in the studio live and direct President, Joint Unions Action Committee, simply put, JUAC, in the person of Matulukuro Okurode. Of course, those of you who have been following the events in the FCT, you know that this one man who often speaks for the interests of workers in the FCT. Just of recent, you know, the president appointed some permanent secretaries, and you know, FCT is considered to be one. But when the permanent secretary was posted to FCT, before that was done, you all know that the present minister, Barrister Wike, had already sought the attention of the president to allow FCT to exist as an entity of itself without having to do with an affiliation with some other forces around. And so the president graciously allowed FCT to become an entity of itself, where it can equally establish a commission, civil service commission, that will be taking care of civil service issues in terms of welfare and promotion. And so it was expected that among the directors, or either whatever position they may be inside the FCT, they're supposed to bring out who's supposed to be like a permanent secretary. But unfortunately, as events unfolded, we now saw a new person posted to become the permanent secretary of the FCT. And for that moment, workers who are in themselves came out and said no, they should follow what the Constitution says concerning the establishment of Civil Service Commission. And therefore, they are not kicking against the woman. But of course, let the law be followed. And so, with the president right here, he's going to explain further some of those things we saw them doing a couple of days ago. It's a pleasure having you on the program this evening, sir. Matulukuro Kurode.
Thank you. Good evening. It's my pleasure.
Yes. So put us through,
Nigerians. Yeah.
Put us through basically what has been going on in the FCT.
First and foremost, I want to thank you, Gatopsy, for this wonderful opportunity. It only comes once in a while, and it's really a good thing to speak to Nigerians today, because my faith tells me that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And today, since I have opportunity of running through why we were out there before yesterday to declare our position as regard that mischievous. I call it mischievous because it's an anomaly, and as staff of FCTA, we are not going to sit and continue to allow anybody to enslave us. First and foremost, I wish to say that the office of the permanent secretary since 2004 have been abolished. I don't make law. I don't think any staff of FCTA makes law. But the authority, as at then, dissolved what we used to know as FCT, MFCT, that's Ministry of Federal Capital Territory. And with that, to that effect, the position of permanent secretary, as a matter of fact, the office of the permanent secretary was abolished. That means that the posting of permanent secretary from federal, a stop was put to it. And for the avoidance of doubt, the then permanent secretary was sent back to the head of service. I'm talking about, I think, Mr. Deji Omotade. I stand to be corrected. I was sent back, and since then, the position of permanent secretary being sent from the head of service was put to a stop until mischievously again, I think the former minister Modibo came on board, and before you say Jack Robinson, he brought the PAMSEC again, and before we could ask questions, the office came on board again. But that does not remove the fact that the existence of that position is illegal as far as FCT is concerned. Because if it was not that serious, the permanent secretary that was there when the law or the one of 2004 was established won't be sent back, packing back to the head of service, and that's a signal. And what we were expecting to happen was for FCT to now be restructured in a way that it will follow suit just like the state in Nigeria. And today, do you see the head of service posting any permanent secretary to the state? No. Why? Because they man their own affairs. And if you look at the structure of FCT as we speak now, we have area councils that are equivalent to the ministries in the state. And we have our honorable secretary that are equivalent to commissioners at the state level. And where you have that, the kind of restructuring we were looking forward to was bringing on board an equivalent position, or the position of the permanent secretary that will work with these commissioners, as the case may be, just like states, so that FCT will be well run and issues will be well looked at. But this was not done, and the next thing we saw was bringing on board the permanent secretary. Again, I'll be struggling with that. To even start with, you bring people at the tail end of their career to come and man FCT. Where they are coming from, I stand to be corrected. I think the best staff strength of majority of the ministries, on the average, I think is about 2,000. And you are sending somebody that's at the end of their career to come to FCT to come and manage a staff strength of well over 30,000. If I put the coppers, and I put ITs, and I put some special staffs,
they call it
all together,
we
should be looking at well over 40,000. How do you hope they will cope? How do you hope they will manage? We have 6 different area councils. We are not like ministries. We are as good as a state. And if you check the establishment of FCT, even the constitution says FCT will be treated as if it were a state. In the first place, if it's not being recognized as a state, I don't think that formulation would really come on board. I think it came because they realized that there is need to run FCT just alongside of the state. Okay. And the laws are beginning to come to shape now. And that's why when Malam Musa Bello came and saw that need, he was the first to make effort to put in place the appropriate law. And what he did was working with the appropriate quarters to make sure that this law was sent to the National Assembly. And when it was sent to the National Assembly, this law was passed and was sent to the president for his assent, which was probably done by the former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. And when that was done, it was brought back to FCT, and this law was gazetted. Then what is remaining is the implementation of the law. And we prevailed so much on the former minister. He promised he was going to do it, but due to one or two things, he could not do it before he left. And luckily, before we knew it, God brought our own Messiah. Then the Toknadu minister, the Honorable Minister Wike, and when he came on board, he barely spent 2 months. When he was calling for 1 or 2 issues about the staff, and that was mentioned to him and all the effort we have taken before now. And when he looked at it, he on his own answered that, you mean you had this, then what is the problem of implementation? The next thing, he took it upon himself, went to the minister, and went to the president, and got a speedy approval within the shortest time. And he came to address press, and he promised he was going to implement it within the shortest time. So what we were expecting is the implementation of this law, not posting another permanent secretary, which is to us is like you are dragging us back, which is to us is like you want to take us back to Egypt, land of slavery where we will not be able to get our career progression, appropriately. Land of slavery, where majority of staff in FCT since 2004, we have been cut off from the federal line by not allowing any of our staff to take part even in the selection of the permanent secretary. I charge anybody to go down history and go and check, even when we were still writing for the position of permanent secretary alongside the federal officers. The least we will ever take is nothing less than 3 slots of a position of permanent secretary from FCT. And that tells us that there are capable hands in FCT. We have officers that are well trained and well grounded. So why then should our career development be cut short because some people are just interested in milking FCT? Because only God knows the reason why the mischief, and I don't want to speak for anybody. But what we are saying is, we don't have any case against the new permanent secretary. But what we are saying is that it's a mismatch. What we are saying is that it's an anomaly which should be corrected. Because generally you cannot be appropriating and be reprobating at the same time. Because it's very interesting that when you are aware that the law has been passed. I remember that I had an encounter with the head of service approximately almost about 5 years ago, when I said, stop posting permanent secretary to FCTA. And she asked me why. And I said, look, there's an existing law, or the one of 2004. She said she was not aware. And I tried to give us opportunity to avail you a copy so that you can read. Till date, is she still saying she's not aware of the law? As the head of service, I am a staff, and I've made mention that there's a law. I don't make law. It's not possible for me to have made this law somewhere. And I say a law like this exists. She should have taken her time to go through that law. She should have taken her time to look at it. And if there's anything you feel you are not comfortable with, you are in the higher position, you are at the corridor of power, you could pick your pen and write that such be corrected. And now that even the law is now passed, again, you are still posting permanent secretary, mischievously putting a name where you know that somebody will not likely, because nobody will expect that after exam and the permanent secretaries have been selected, and you are writing to the president for approval to post them. Nobody will suspect you on anything.
Okay, President, let me ask you this fundamental question.
Yes, sir.
You are aware that FCT has 2 budgets?
Yes.
The national.
Yes.
And as well the statutory.
Yes.
What that tells you, if you were to be treated like a state, is there any state that has 2 budgets?
No.
Then if FCT has 2 budgets,
yes,
what does it tell you?
What it tells us is that, yes, we play dual role.
Fine. If we play dual role,
yeah,
will it be wrong for the head of service to decide to send one of our officers to become permanent secretary on the principle of, for the fact that FCT is treated as having a national budget, being looked upon as if it's a federal ministry, and then being looked upon as a state? That's why you are allowed to have the statutory generating your revenue and use it the way you want it, like any other state does in Nigeria. So if the head of service feels it is important for her to do like the way she did, send Magdalene Ajani to come to that place, and workers are not feeling comfortable and insisting that let the law be interpreted properly and implemented. Is it an aberration, or also are not looking at it in that direction as well? Well,
you are right to an extent. If this has been done before the law we are talking about, the one of 2004,
yeah,
that abolished that position. The position has been existing before now. The position is regular, and that was the same opportunity we had to equally take part. But at a certain point, the same authority looked at it and felt, no, there is no need for this to exist again. What we are discussing now is not even whether it is right or wrong. What we are discussing is that this is what the law says.
Yes.
If the law says going forward, FCT will no longer be called MFCT,
Has it been gazetted? Has it been gazetted?
Yes, it has been gazetted. It was part of my position initially.
Were workers sensitized that a new law?
Of course, if workers were not sensitized, by the time we were calling out to say, no, this is wrong, let's use the opportunity to call the attention of the president. Now somebody somewhere is trying to make you look like you don't know what you are doing. Because it is the same president that has approved this. So why is he now being mischievous? Was it not? How can she claim that she's not aware? Because that thing was well celebrated. Apart from the fact that they went to Federal Executive Council and it was approved, all the protocols met. This thing was well celebrated by media. Are you saying the head of service does not read the Nigerian dailies? So what we are saying is that somewhere, somehow, somebody is playing funny.
At this point in time, this is 2024.
Yes.
And the new budget has been signed by the federal government.
Yes.
And in this budget, certain amount has been set aside for FCT.
Yes.
Now, if FCT were to be treated like a state, I should have expected the minister to announce his budget himself like any other governor does in his own state. Now, if it is not that way, and then you are called upon, if the minister is called upon to defend budget in National Assembly, like other ministries do, would the head of service be wrong to have done what she did? Yes, sir. Why is because, you know, as FCT... When you talk about the law... Yes. As FCT... The law is not blind. Topsy. Yes. As FCT, you are aware that we are also being run just like we are state. That is why we have National Assembly. It's just that the Federal National Assembly is playing dual role. So they are treating now when it comes to state affairs, they give us opportunity to come and make our presentation. That's why you see that we have our own budget. And we have the federal budget because as far as roads are concerned in FCT, as far as infrastructures are concerned, we are the one doing this on behalf of the federal government. So federal government is keeping aside a certain amount of money to run all these affairs. Okay, who spends the FCT revenue? Revenue generated. FCT spends its revenue, like for example, payment of our salaries, and that's why we have a staff strength. We are saying it's over 40,000. If you look at it, our operation is unique, and it could only be likened to state activity, just like any state in Nigeria. And that's why the law is clear. We don't have a problem. Get something right. If tomorrow the president of Nigeria feels, no, I don't want FCT to exist again alone, let them change the law. That's what we are saying. But as far as now is concerned, you have abolished MFCT. You have brought on board FCT administration, and you have said it's being guided by law. Then as we speak now, what law established FCT? Is the other one of 2004. So you cannot change anything on that except you go back to National Assembly. Now from 2004 to 2024. Yes. My own concern, why being particular about this appointment? If you have had the law that has been in existence since 2004, like this, we had Obasanjo, we had Yaradua, we had Jonathan, we had Buhari, and now President Tinubu. In this succession, and each of these administrations appointed permanent secretary to the to FCT. You never had the opportunity of doing what you have been doing of recent until when Madeleine Ajani appointed, or this permanent secretary or head of service appointed Ajani, that you felt the law ought to be interpreted appropriately. Yeah. Why this consciousness only at this time? The consciousness has been there. It has been there in the sense that, you know, there is no perfect law. Not even in the United States of America. There's no perfect law. The only thing they did not do during the other one of 2004 was to properly implement it so that they can see where the lacunas are and they will make adjustments. Yes. It was hurriedly implemented and El-Rufai could not complete that aspect before he left. And you know what funny thing about the administration in Nigeria is that everybody is coming with his own agenda. And some will come with 40 agendas, some will go with 50 agendas, some will go with one agenda, as the case may be. Yes. If the agenda is not for that. But you see, for a long time, we saw the implementation of this and we saw where it's affecting staff.
Probably if El-Rufai had been made to stay longer, he would have seen some of these lacunae. And that's why the issue of the permanent secretary is becoming an issue.
Okay.
Because at the time it was implemented...
President, sir, that's President Matulu.
Yes,
can you explain to the viewers?
Yeah.
Basically, is the Civil Service Commission for FCT, has it taken off?
It has not taken off.
Fine.
But the stage it is now is the stage of approval, which
just on paper,
which this present minister is doing so much. As I speak to you now, the structure of what is going to look like is already on ground. The organogram is ready. They've rented the takeoff office for them, and I think even in this 2024, if I start to be corrected, a certain budget has been made for them to take off. The only thing that is remaining now, which you agree with me that it takes a lot of process, is the appointment of the commissioners. And even the appointment of commissioner is not something anybody can just stand and say, I pick you, I pick you, I pick you. No. The Civil Service Commission laid it down that each has to come from each geopolitical zones. It then means that there are processes to follow. And I want to believe that that's what the Honorable Minister...
So as much as it's still just on the pipeline to be achieved, could there be a gap in trying to have a permanent secretary simply because it is on the pipeline to be achieved, and then we now abolish the idea of permanent secretary to be appointed for FCT because of this law is on the pipeline? Can that be correct?
No, that's absolutely wrong, and I will tell you why.
Fine.
If you have made me to see that, to believe more in myself that somebody somewhere is being meticulous. Because even the present permanent secretary is supposed to exist on the 29th of January. Why are we in a haste? What's today's date? What is the need for the hurry?
The newly appointed?
Yes, she cannot come on board until after 29 that Adeshola will exit the system. So why the haste? If it's about the implementation, we have told you. We just got this approval about two weeks ago when it was announced, and if you recollect, we even celebrated the Honorable Minister Wike. Because let me tell you something. Within the short time that the Honorable Minister has spent in FCT, honestly, I can beat my chest to say that with the little we have seen, staff welfare is paramount to him. We've only been seeing him, relating with him from afar. But within these 2 months that we are talking about now, we can begin to point out what he has done as far as staff welfare is concerned and well-being. Just this December, for the first time in the history of FCT, if I'm permitted to say this, Honorable Minister gave every staff of FCT one bag of rice, each 50 kg. I got mine. And it has never happened in the history of FCT. Indeed. And my father told me one story, that a man went to war, and he was reported to have killed 6 hefty giants. And when he came back to the house, as he was coming in, he just ate 6 wraps of very good akpu. And the next thing, when he finished eating, he stepped out of the house again and stepped on 6 chicken. Even if we have not seen what he has done at the war, what about the 6 wraps of akpu? What about the 6 chicken he stepped on once and they died? Is that I don't know the testimony to what has happened at the war. Look, I just want to use the opportunity to tell every hindrances that every hindrance they should allow the Honorable Minister Wike to work. He has a lot to deliver in FCT. As I speak to you now, go all around. All the abandoned projects, they are back on site now, working seriously, all within 2 months. Now let me take some other people. Within 2 months, they will still be busy. President, let me ask you this question: What are we losing if we have permanent secretary like the way it is now? What are we losing as staff? I will tell you what we are losing. First and foremost, I have told you that FCT is big. It's not a ministry where you have 1,700 to 300 or at most 2,000 staff strength. We are approximately almost 40,000 staff. And our offices are well spread across FCT. We have offices at Abaji, we have at Kuje, Buhari, and what have you. So our administration is bigger than a permanent secretary who does not understand the terrain. Even when they are being posted to FCT, major, like I said earlier, that is always at the tail end of their career. They have just about 1 year, 2 years. I think at most I've seen is 3 years. They spend the 3 years learning FCT. Olushade is just lucky because I think he's very brilliant, one of the outstanding permanent secretary. You can't take administration away from him. And that's why he's able to quickly adjust and learn and is managing the affair. On a daily basis, if you have opportunity of asking, he will tell you that the files that come to his office, they are in thousands. And sometimes you even pity him when you see him around 5, 6, 7 in the night. He's worn out, he's exhausted. It's not easy. You want to run a whole state. Hassan is a ministry of education, ministry of finance.
Are you saying by implication it is only when you appoint one of you that he cannot do exactly what you are saying?
One of us.
The one then.
What we are saying is that they need for FCT to be readjusted, to be managed the way it should be managed, so that the product that will be coming out of it will be better than what
when you talk about management president, you are talking about appointing some other persons who started from level 8 until they could get to level 17 and then made to
one of the advantages is
that what you are saying?
When you pick that, as a matter of fact, the one permanent secretary cannot handle FCT. Let me be frank with you. Then what we are now saying is that why do you want to keep appointing people that will spend out of their 3 years, they will spend 2.5 years studying FCT and they will still not get it? Can you compare that person with somebody that rose from the maybe level 8, 9, 10,
all the way
12, all through to director position? He would have seen it all. If it's about the construction, you are talking about a director maybe that was there when Kuwa Road was constructed. He knows where, what and what is kept. If they need to lay another pipe from AYA down to Zuba, he knows where they should go and where they should not go.
But with the support of the directors, the permanent secretary will not thrive.
Yes, but look, it will take time for him to read and understand all the files. It's only when you have a broad knowledge you can ask the right question. Otherwise, it's even more dangerous for FCT to just say, okay, don't worry, is that what you say we should do, or let's go ahead. But look, if you allow the system to take care of itself, because that's the second side of it, because the first side we were looking at is our career was truncated. Like any other person, before 2004, we were all competing, and out of the number of the permanent secretary, we were taking as much as 3, 5. And all of a sudden, we can no longer go to that level. We were being compared since 2004.
So where do they stop? Just as the level director.
Director, and that makes it more now stiffer. The competition is now high. It's not a do or die affair. Even people that, you will not be using all the connection you have to make sure you get to that. Why? But what we are saying is, and with, you see, the enacting of that law, the law of Civil Service Commission is going to open up a lot of things. And let me quickly give you a paraphrase of that. Take, for instance, our human resources is exhausted now. Is over bloated. The moment this is put in place, Civil Service Commission, appointment, promotion, and discipline will be removed from their activities. It will be the sole responsibility of the commission. And the commission now, go and check employment in FCT now. Is always one-sided. Is lopsided depending on who and who is at the heads of affairs. But if commission is coming on board, because it's on the basis of geopolitical zone, if you take 2, I take 2. He takes 2, they take 2. By then, we will be bringing the more unity even into FCT. It will now be that people will be promoted with justification. Not because it's my friend, don't you know he's from my state, and we are from the same area, local government area. If it's 10 people to be promoted, to be shared equally. It's even healthy for FCT as a state. Now, the remaining part of activities for the human resources will simply turn to the head of service for the FCT administration. And they will begin to take all the administrative activities. Then even the director of human resources will not be overwhelmed. then that's why I was telling you that you begin to see results moving in. So let nobody get this position FCT staff are taking wrong today. We are not only saying appoint a permanent secretary from, we are saying that there exists nothing less than 8 secretariat now. Along that commissioners, we should have permanent secretaries working with them as accounting officer to those secretariats that are going to be managing a chunk of resources. And when that is done, accountability will be well established in those areas. So when you have about, for example, 8 permanent secretary, will it not filter down? It will reduce the tension. It doesn't mean that some people will still not retire as a director. It doesn't mean some people will not still retire as stand director. But what we are saying is that, number one, there will be buy-in. Because the people that will be appointed to that, they will be well filtered, and you will even see results in terms of FCT deliverables. Okay. And that's what we are talking about. Rather than bringing people in that will be taking time to study this. Above it all, President Tinubu is the president of the country today. He has the prerogative. Even if tomorrow you say, compress the whole of FCT into one area council, as long as they have gone through the law and they have changed the existing law and it has been signed to law and the procedures have been duly followed, we will work against that. The best we can do is to say, oh, this would have worked better this way. Yeah. And you will suggest. Okay,
President, let me ask, President Joint Unions Action Committee, JOAC, yes, FCT. Let me ask you this question. What will be the interpretation of the newly appointed permanent secretary to the FCT, Madeleine Ajani, with what you workers, the leaders of the unions are doing by coming out at the point her name has been announced? What will be her interpretation? Is it like you are rejecting her or you are interpreting the law?
Who are we to reject her? She's a qualified permanent secretary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And let me also remind you that is an appointment that the president himself have to assent to. So it doesn't mean that she's qualified. But what we are saying is that with the existing law, she does not have business in FCT. Somebody somewhere is just being mischievous by posting her to FCT. And I want to use this medium to tell them that it's simple. Let them just repost her. As simple as that. For us, what we are expecting is the implementation of FCT Civil Service Commission, and by the grace of God, in a couple of 1-2 months, you will see that coming to be. And by then, we will not be wasting saliva of our strength to begin to narrate the product. Directly, everyone will begin to see it. Because it's just an eye-opener. It's going to open doors to a lot of restructuring. And that's why once you are taking the first step, and somebody is manipulating to say, okay, let's put water under it so that it will put leg and feel his water so that I can run back and say, I won't go forward. No. The issue is simple. We are saying the law existing now. It's just that somebody is saying, till today, some people still refer to FCT as MFCT. And we will laugh. There's no law. Even if you bring permanent secretary to FCT today, under which law are you bringing in? Or her?
They have been coming.
Yeah, that's why I said it's an aberration. Because it has been happening and there is no law establishing it, does not mean we should continue in sin. What we are saying is that, look, it's an aberration. You know, and before now we have been shouting about it. So what makes it to be more interesting now is that not only that the law has been passed, the law has been formulated, has been sent to National Assembly, it has been well looked into, it has been passed into law, gazetted, and approval from the same president.
So this action you took some few days ago, have you gone to see the head of service?
Well, we have not.
And again, I believe
that... But if she invites us, we will go, because we need to enlighten her. You know, sometimes, you know, when...
But you know very well that her office, one of the responsibilities she has is posting of permanent secretaries to various ministries across the country.
Absolutely.
And if you knew that FCT had become entirely a different thing altogether, did you bother at a point to let her know before she could be thinking of sending some other persons to come as permanent secretary, since you know very well from 2004 to where we are. So if you fail in that action, then the problem is not us but you people.
No. I would disagree absolutely with you. I just told you that like 5-6 years ago, I had an encounter with her in a program. And when it was time for question, I said, Ma, stop posting permanent secretary
this
to
particular
FCT.
head of service?
This same head of service. And I said, Ma, he said, why will you say that? I said, sir, Ma, are you aware that is the other one of 2004 prohibit that? He said, which law is that? I said, that was the law that dissolved the Ministry of Federal Capital Territory and established the Federal Capital Territory Administration. She said she's not aware. Honestly speaking, I felt so disappointed, with due respect.
Yes, because
who in Nigeria today will say he or she does not know that the Ministry of Federal Capital Territory no longer exists? Now what exists now is FCTA administration. Go anywhere, Google it. Let's even assume, because we are intelligent people, and I want you to be Topsy, I want you to begin to use your tongue to count your teeth. Let's assume she didn't know, truly. Even though I agree that ignorance is not excuse in law, but let's assume she doesn't know. And that day that I came out among the crowd and I said that there's a law prohibiting you from posting permanent secretary to FCTA, why did she go back to go and check?
Was it at the tail end of the exiting permanent secretary that you talked to her, or it was in a very obscure time like that?
Because as much as civil service,
no, I was expecting you people becoming conscious that indeed the exiting permanent secretary was leaving. You ought to have gone to her immediately that don't do that. This is the law. You can even provide her with a copy.
That's why.
As much as you didn't do, believing that you should know.
Topsy.
Yeah.
This thing we are discussing is very, very simple and very easy.
I'm only imagining how people think.
The problem is
that's how people think.
That time that she was challenged in a program. We were in that program. I'm sure we won't be less than 500. And then a young man, a civil servant, came out and said there exists a law that prohibits you from doing X, Y, Z. And I said, give me opportunity to bring a copy of the other one of 2004 to you. And she said, bring it. And I said, okay. As I got to FCT, I heard she has called FCT and they have told her the truth that what the young man said is true. So she's aware.
Okay.
So when you are not doing it, that's what I'm saying, that somebody somewhere is being mischievous.
So let me ask you this question. If it doesn't work like the way joint unions are really saying, what will you do?
Well, you see, I believe it will work. And I will tell you why it will work. The only way why it will not work is if between now and tomorrow morning, they have made another law, send it to National Assembly, well scrutinized. I don't know, they can
After all that, they are on recess.
They can do that overnight.
No, they are on recess.
They can call them back for recess within the next 30 minutes. They can sit, they can look at the law, pass another law, send it to the president.
Otherwise, it's another one.
Send it to us, and we look at it and it's gazetted. Haba. You see, I'm a simple, obedient civil servant, and just like every staff of FCTA, we are law abiding.
Yeah.
You will not see us closing our gates or fighting against our leaders.
Yes.
Before we will do that, we believe in critical analysis of issues and allow superior argument to supersede.
What's the minister saying on this?
Well, in fact, it was even the minister that sent a message to us that he's already on top of the situation, right, and is already meeting with the president that we should calm down. There's no need to overflog the issue, yeah. And that was why we didn't do anything, because I remember what I just did was to now address staff, because we have sent the circular out. Staff have been mobilized, some from Abaji, Kwali, Kuje, Buhari. You know, and they were coming in their hundreds. You know, as at the time I was addressing them, if I had stayed longer, maybe we would have been having thousands.
Wow.
So I needed to quickly do that and do a press release to tell them, for now, the Honorable Minister has said we should stay down, is nothing to worry about, and is already discussing the issue. Okay. And if you have this kind of minister that we have now, if we are the union leader, you will listen to him. Because if somebody tell you that tomorrow I will give you 1,000 naira, and he say, but today, I don't have so much money. Take this 500 naira, and just, it's not part of the 1,000, but just keep this one to assure you I'll give you tomorrow. What else will you do?
Sure.
It's a man that is performing.
Yeah.
For now, labor is 2 ways. If tomorrow, they there again, we will boldly come out. So, for now, Topsy, be on the same page with me. It will work out. Do you know why it will work out? The same people that will make it to work out are the ones that made the law. If it's not going to work out, they should follow normal processes, change the law, we will abide.
So can this auxiliary staff we have across board, we have them in Aso Radio and Television. We call them interim staff.
All sorts of names.
Oh yeah, all sorts of names. And they are all over. They are
if you go to health, they say they are locum. If you go to education, they say they are PTA staff.
Yes.
If you go to, but by the case of those are some of the things we are going to be discussing with our minister. We are still expecting him to meet with us. Since he came on board, we have not had opportunity of meeting him one-on-one.
Are you people working to give them permanent appointments?
That's what I'm saying, that right now, what I don't know, I won't say.
Yes.
Right now, until we discuss with our minister, and we sit down to look at it, that, okay, these issues exist, and they are not supposed to be, how can we manage them? So when we have agreed now, if you come back to interview me and you ask me questions, I will be more direct.
Yes.
For now, I want to leave issues the way they are. We are not happy with it. The law does not permit for casual workers, whichever name you want to call it. So what we are saying now is that by the grace of God, once we meet with the minister, we are going to let it open. Look at the cockbuyer that we are in. And these are our suggestive ways forward. I will listen to him. But somebody like him, I won't doubt he won't have solution. He's a man, even where he wants clarity, he will give you opportunity to say your mind. Yes. If somebody, without even consultation with anybody, when we just had, we mentioned, what about the end of year incentives? It has never happened in FCT.
Yes.
And across board, go and ask staff. I'm glad you said you got your own.
I got my rights.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much. And
let me also tell you, I am postulating that what you enjoy today, the rice they gave us is without oil, is without pepper, is without chicken.
Honestly,
I can beat my chest. I've not met.
We're only using it.
The next Salah, we are going to Salah now. I am sure the rice will come with chicken. It will come with ram. Oh, yeah. Because our Muslim brothers. Yes. They have a way they celebrate their Salah.
Yes.
I am very sure the minister will meet up with it, because we are beginning to see signal of him attending to that has to do with well-being and welfare and that's why union will excitedly work with him.
President, this is the January of 2024.
Yeah.
And with this issue of auxiliary staff or interim staff, whatever name they are called, is there any guarantee that before the year runs to December, something remarkable must have really happened? Because honestly, I only imagine myself being a permanent staff, collecting salary as when due. Then when I look at my colleague who does not enjoy that benefit, and the money comes at trickle, maybe over 2 months before he gets the last month or so, and the country gets hot by the day in terms of meeting up with their demands. It doesn't speak well. And again, you look at them, they are young boys and girls who are really so desirous to get employment, and they will waste the whole of their lifetime doing auxiliary work for closely 10 years before possibly God will now send a Messiah to give them the permanent appointment. And the child stays only for 10 years and the retirement comes. Does it work? Is there any humanity in it?
On this one, we're on the same page. And by the grace of God, like I told you, is one of the major things we'll be discussing with the Honorable Minister. Honestly, I feel their pain. You have brothers and sisters among them. I have brothers and sisters among them. An injury to one is an injury to all. We have been taking up their cases. Even I remember during the last, the former minister, we took up the case easily, and I think there was 2 employment that was done. But you see, from my experience, what I now realize is that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Otherwise, I have come to realize that what you need to survive is not so much. All you need is good food, wear averagely good clothes, maybe good shoe, and you sleep where you need to sleep. Yeah. You have somewhere you put your head, and good infrastructure for you to move around to do X, Y, Z. What else do you need? No. Is it compulsory you have to drive a Lincoln limousine? For where? It's about mobility. So a lot of issues are entangled, on this. And I'm a kind of person that, as a leader, I don't like raising hope. I would rather go and discuss issue critically, and when we take decisions that I know this will truly add value to the people we have made case for, I can come back to them and say, okay, so decision has been taken. All we need to do is that let's monitor it to make sure that it did not slip off. It's bad. I want to use the opportunity to talk about health, for example. Are you aware that at our various facilities now, majority of the people that are working so well are the local staff? If you go there, you will be shocked. You are aware that our doctors are jackpine. Our nurses are jackpine. But these are people that are committed to the work, even though they are being paid so little. So let me tell you what I'm going to be proposing to the Honorable Minister, and not what will happen. Because when you go to a negotiation table, you go there with all your arsenals and all your facts and figures, but sometimes it's not all you desire that you acquire. Indeed. But by the grace of God, what we'll be telling the Honorable Minister is, in the next 2-3 years, don't do employment. Absorb all the auxiliary staffs to start with. Honestly. And charge them with the responsibility that I am going all out to give you this employment because you have done X, Y, Z when you were not yet a full staff. Yeah. So if I give you this, I want to double your effort. I tell you that with the people I've met with, they would not only double their effort, honestly, FCT will be recorded to be one of the best states of the Federation. Amen. So we are going to take up that case. It's seriously on our mind. We are guarding it as a baby, and with the kind of minister that we know that we are very sure that he will do something about it. Because honestly speaking, Honorable Minister Wike has demonstrated that he's somebody we can trust. That's right, sir. And like before, that we will raise one hand and put one leg on the ground to observe. I always our 2 legs are on the ground, but we are still observing it. I always like talking with you. You have a lot to offer. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate you for taking time to be with us on this program this evening. It's my pleasure. Yeah. Well, we'll be speaking with the President Joint Unions Action Committee, FCT, JUAC, and not any other person, Matulu Kurode, very outspoken, knowledgeable. He knows issues that affect the workers in the FCT, and that's why he's up to them and ensure that they are solved accordingly. The recent is the one we saw when they came out to protest. He said it's not a protest, but just to put facts straight. And of course, going forward, it's going to be seen to be working. I thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, that's about the size of the program, Political Viewpoint. My name is Topsy Gimba. We shall be doing that again tomorrow. Do have a very lovely time. News comes your way at 7. We're leaving the studio, and bye-bye.